Hey dude, what kind of sports do you play? Oh, I like football. Dude, I love football. I was the captain of the high school football team. Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, dude. I remember how I scored a touchdown and. What the hell is a touchdown? You know, a touchdown. Ah, damn it. You're talking about American football, aren't you? Well, yeah, of course. Of course I am. Can't you see that I'm American? I'm talking about actual football. The one where you use your foot to kick the ball into the goal. Oh, you mean soccer? No, I mean football. I know in America it's called soccer, but the rest of the world calls it football. Why is American football and football two completely different things? Have you ever wondered why both of these sports share the same name, despite being two completely different games? Turns out there's actually a whole history behind it. During the Han Dynasty of ancient China, there was a ball game known as 蹴鞠. The game is basically the ancestor of modern day football, and it actually played quite similarly. Players would have to kick a ball through an opening into a net without the use of their hands, just like modern day football. However, this game was actually meant to be a military exercise instead of an actual game. Similar games were actually played in other parts of the world as well, such as Europe. Flash forward to the medieval ages, and we can see that football is actually played in England at that time. However, in our modern times, we would actually call that game medieval football or mob football. Instead of a proper organized sport, this game would actually be played in towns and villages with an unlimited number of people on opposing teams, clashing in a heavy mass of people struggling to drag something like a pig's bladder by any means possible to markers at the end of a town. And by any means, the player could actually do anything to move the ball towards the goal, as long as it did not lead to killings. Sometimes, instead of markers, the players would actually kick the ball into the balcony of an opponent's church. Playing this sport was later banned, however, but of course some people still played it secretly. While some people played these games throughout Britain, during the 16th century, some public schools have established rules for the game, making the game less violent and more strict. Examples such as only being able to use your feet to kick the ball, having a referee, passing, dribbling, etc. were established. This was how football came to be. However, some schools created their own set of rules for the game. An example would be rugby school, where they allowed tackling and running with the ball in the player's hands, and thus rugby football was born. Rugby football would soon evolve into what we all know today as American football. Okay, so how did America start to call football as soccer, you might ask? Well, believe it or not, the term actually comes from an Oxford University abbreviation, and a common way of creating abbreviations at the time was to add an ER at the end. So how did football become soccer when the words in front of ER look like this? This actually has to do with something from back in 1863, when the Football Association was founded. As the association was founded, they established the rules of the game and published a book called The Rules of Association Football. So the full name of the sport we all know and love today, the one I keep calling football because I'm not American, is actually called Association Football. But because it was tedious to say such a long name, we just say football. And like I mentioned earlier, a common way of creating abbreviations at the time was to add an ER at the end. So Association Football became soccer. So now you know. However, I don't know why they picked the SOC in the middle of association to create that abbreviation. Why not take the first part of the word and call it ASSER? Yeah, ASSER sounds good.